bill, he said we'd need about $150 billion for 2008. The majority has been sitting on this request for 8 months, and now they've made a conscious decision to leave it out of the defense spending bill altogether. Some of them are arguing that the Defense Department has the legal authority to sustain the war on its own. That's right. They could do that. But what the Defense Department can't do is plan ahead without a future spending commitment from this Congress. They can't plan for training, equipping, feeding, or protecting our troops until they know the money will be there beyond the immediate future. And they can't plan to be ready for any other operations that might arise outside of the current conflicts. This is no way to run a Defense Department. It's no way to treat the troops. And it's entirely inconsistent with the expressions of support for the troops that we registered with the Gregg and Murray resolutions, and which we reaffirmed repeatedly, including yesterday by rejecting the Feingold Amendment. All summer, America and its allies waited for General David Petraeus to come to the Hill, tell us about the prospects in Iraq. We were encouraged when he told us the military objectives of his strategy were, in large measure, being met. And we were proud when he told us that in the face of tough enemies and the brutal summer heat, coalition and Iraqi security forces had achieved real progress toward achieving their goals. In large part because they dealt what he described as a significant blow to al-Qaeda. General Petraeus recommended that as a result of these early successes, we could begin to draw down our troops beginning this year. That drawdown has already begun. Last month, the Marine Expeditionary Unit that was deployed as part of the surge left Iraq after a job well done. A combat brigade team will leave in mid-December with 4 others and 2 surge Marine battalions to follow during the first half of next year. This was General Petraeus' cautious but expert plan for building on the successes we've made in Iraq. The President accepted that plan, and a majority of Americans, including the majority of Democrats, if we're to believe the polls, think it's a good idea. We have a new strategy in Iraq. According to the general in charge, it's working, and we owe it to the men and women in the field to first of all keep to a commitment we've already made to fund them while they're carrying that strategy out. We cannot, we must not close this session without providing the funding these troops need. We also owe it to them to bring them home in a way that reflects the best judgment of their commanders. General Petraeus gave us a rare and valuable glimpse into the minds of our soldiers and Marines when he testified on Capitol Hill last month. Here's what he said. General Petraeus said, "None of us want to stay in Iraq forever. We all want to come home. We all have days of frustration and all the rest of that, but what we want to do is to come home the right way, having added to the heritage of our services, accomplished the mission that our country has laid out for us." That's what General Petraeus had to say. And then he gave us an idea of the caliber of men and women who are serving our country in Iraq. Talking more about the commitment they have to their task, here's what General Petraeus said. He said, "I think that's a very important factor in what our soldiers are doing. In addition to that, frankly, they also just respect the individuals with whom they are carrying out this important mission. The men and women on their right and on their left who share very important values, among them selfless service and devotion to duty. And that indeed is a huge factor in why many of us continue to serve and stay in uniform, because the privilege of serving with such individuals is truly enormous." The Defense Department is currently revising its spending request for the current fiscal year, but that's no reason to deny the funds it's already said it needs to get through the spring. The fact that we're waiting on a request for more is not an excuse to deliver nothing. The men and women who are serving our country deserve better. Let's not pass up the chance to acknowledge their selfless service and devotion to duty by giving them exactly what they need before we conclude this session of Congress. Mr. President, I yield the floor.